everyone, this is Ian here with UDA Technologies, and let's take a look at this webinar today for an overview of ConstructionSuite. Now, as I mentioned, our goal today for our webinar is just to get a broad overview for ConstructionSuite as a whole. So we'll be taking a look at a lot of the tools and utilities that I would expect you guys to take advantage of here within the ConstructionSuite main interface. Everything from setting up new contacts, creating new projects. We'll take a look at how the project information comes together, and I'll focus on a few of my favorites in here as well, like the utility available to you guys through the workflows, some of the dashboard elements that we have here to ConstructionSuite, and so on. Looks like we've got a great crowd today as well. Lots of, looks like both residential and commercial builders. So I'll try to keep it a little bit broad for us today, not focus too much on one piece or the other. But I will, of course, highlight any components that might be available to the residential versions of ConstructionSuite versus the commercial versions. And we'll also take a look at the various different features that are available in the various different levels. So lots of options here as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll dive in here with the main interface for ConstructionSuite. And what you can see here on the main interface is this is our today screen, and on this screen we have the dashboard. The dashboard has a lot of wonderful elements here for keeping us up with a lot of the projects that we're running right now, including a cost breakdown, which you guys will see up here in the top portion. That information is going to be a cost breakdown across all of my projects right now, but of course we can filter this down to specifics up here as well. And there's also going to be an area here where I can keep an eye on my lead pipeline. This is my quick at-a-glance information. You can always click into the lead section to get more detail. Same for the change orders. A little bit of an overview here for my active change orders, and we can click into projects to get specific details. My project profitability, same idea. This is going to be based on a lot of the information that we're putting together for each of our projects, and you can see in here that I've got a red bar for each job indicating the base estimate for a project. You'll see that one here on the Gordy remodeling project. The green bar represents the estimated value, which is going to be our original contract sum plus or minus any change orders that have come up over the course of the job. Then as we're navigating through from here, you'll see actual costs, committed costs, invoiced amounts, and so on. A lot of this information is details that we're pulling in through the QuickBooks integration, which I think you guys will find is actually the best QuickBooks integration in the industry today. Lots of back and forth exchange of information and everything like that, so you can better track job costs and open contracts and everything like that, which is what's displaying here for me on the financial graph or the project profitability section here. Now on the today screen there's some additional information as well that we can gather. If you take a look over on the summary tab, for example, we've got the tabs up here along the top that we can push through. On the summary tab, this is going to be a breakdown of all of the most recent information that we're working on at any given time. So from here I can see my recent projects, we can see recent contacts that I've been updating here. I've got files that we've been working on over the past few days and things like that as well. I've even got recent activities and to-dos. So again, this summary tab is all of my most recent activity, my most recent work, and it's a wonderful place to come if I just want to pick up where I left off last Friday, for example, and just take off with it. Now if we're managing a group as well, there's going to be a lot of people in and out of ConstructionSuite. There's going to be working on different projects and people working on different files within those projects, updating contacts and so on. So keeping track of a history of all of this activity is really easy here under the Activity History tab. And from here, of course, you can sort the information out to see who's working on what, notes that are being posted to projects and everything like that. And there's tons of different filter options available to you here. Sorting options by clicking on any of the column headers at the top. You can even go through and choose different options to display in the activity history as well. So if you just wanted to see who's making calls, you can always just flip over to the options section, turn off everything other than notes or contacts, and go from there. Now continuing to navigate out from here, correspondence overview. This is one of those commercial only versions. Features rather, and with the correspondence overview you can keep track of RFIs, submittals, transmittals, other pieces of general correspondence that are coming and going, and the system allows you to create new ones, tag them to projects, generate reports and documents to go along with these, even add in attachments to the correspondence so that you can send it all out via email really easily. Again, this is going to be first available in the commercial product line. I believe this one's going to show up in Contractor initially and go up from there, Contractor, Catalyst, Developer, and so on. Next over is another limited access feature. This is the company overview. And you'll actually see this first in the corporate or developer versions of ConstructionSuite and above. And this is just going to give you an aggregate report of how we stand based on the project groups that we've created in ConstructionSuite. So it does a wonderful job of giving you a breakdown on all the details by project group, so you can see totals that we have in each of these groups, how much we've spent, how much is left in open contracts, and so on out from there. Even if you break down these reports a little bit more, you can expand them out to see what kind of documentation that we have for these as well, including estimates, schedules, proposals, contracts, the whole nine. You'll be able to see all that information right here and get a good solid breakdown of that detail as well. Now, of course, this is giving us all the information as an overview in report form. There's another tool or a utility that we've been working with here recently, the Work in Progress report, which allows you to pull together all of the information that we're setting up for original contracts, adjustments that we're making with change orders, seeing the contract price, which is what we're going to be negotiating with our client, versus our contract cost, which we're negotiating with subcontractors. And you'll see all of this and our job costs being projected out here in a work in progress report. This is an amazing tool to help you keep on top of how you're doing on all of your jobs at any given point. There's some updated information available to me, which we'll get to later. But this work in progress is going to show me up to the minute information based on the information that we're pulling in from QuickBooks, any of the job costing or anything like that, and it'll allow me to catch any kind of slippage as it's happening before the end of the job. In this case, I'm going to be basing this off of how much I've paid, how much I projected to pay, and how much I estimate for a cost to complete. And this will let me know if we're going to be hitting our target or if I need to make up some ground between now and then. It's also possible that you guys might be gripping on a few areas as well, spending less money than you originally projected. And that's also really, really worth looking into as well. If you're constantly overestimating, it's going to be a little bit harder for you guys to win jobs. It's also possible if you're pretty sure that your estimated numbers are right, but you seem to be spending less, then maybe somebody is misclassifying what they're spending. So it's always a good indicator that there's still a little bit of detective work to do, and this report will help you catch those things well ahead of time so that you don't have to wait until your end of job review to figure out if it was a good job or a bad job, money-wise. So all of this information, though, is being gathered together based on the contacts that we're creating and the projects that we're creating for those contacts. So let's take a second now to navigate down to that contact section, because this tends to be one of the first places that I like to work with as we're setting up ConstructionSuite. Now, on the main interface itself, there's a couple of side panels that'll help us navigate around. Over on the right side, this is kind of our quick access or a recent section. We can see recent projects. There's quick links down here. There's a little calendar tab as well. The left side, though, this is going to indicate, or this is going to be the navigation panel that we have here in ConstructionSuite. So on this left-hand side, you'll actually see key components like the Today screen, which we've just done a review of. I have Estimating Next, which is where we can go and create estimating templates and scheduling templates under the scheduling tabs. ConstructionSuite comes pre-packaged with no less than 141 contract and document templates. This is in the base version. If you're looking at the standard or light versions of ConstructionSuite, you start off with 141 different contract and document templates, although the number might be higher now. As you move up to the Pro or contractor versions of ConstructionSuite, this number jumps up to 176, and that goes through until you guys get to corporate or developer and above, which gets somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think, 205. It's over 200 contract and document templates, which you'll see all of those here, and they're all completely adjustable. We'll touch on those shortly. Again, most of the detail that we're looking at still is going to be coming from projects and projects files, but it typically starts here with the contacts list that we have in ConstructionSuite. And this contacts list is going to be pretty big for most of you. In ConstructionSuite, I like to keep up with all the different contacts that we're working with at any given point, and you'll see all those contacts here in ConstructionSuite with a new easy-to-navigate contact grouping feature here at the top. And this allows you to step through and really examine anybody that you guys are looking for. All of my contacts are going to be in the system, and you'll see people in here like suppliers, I've got leads and plumbers, electricians, I've got roofers and framers. They're all in here somewhere, and it's one unified list for now. But if I just wanted to find a supplier, we could come up and click on the option here for the supplier, and this pulls up a limited list. Now I'm looking at everybody who is grouped into my supplier section, rather than seeing this broad group as a whole. So again, it makes it really easy for you to navigate down to a limited list of people that you're looking for. And you can do the same thing as you navigate through. If we need an electrician, you can click on electrical and this will pull up all my electricians. If you guys need a roofer, same thing. If you guys want to go through and review all of your leads, again, same process. And if at any point you guys need to remove these filters and see the full contacts list again, all you have to do is click on the same bubble as well, and this will desort or unselect all of these sorting options. So click on it once to filter it down to a specific set, click on it twice to get back to your full list. Now, of course, all this information for the different groups is going to be assigned in two places. My easy option is up here in the top right corner. Just below this filter drop-down box, there's a little cog here, or a flywheel, that allows you to open up and adjust contact groups that are going to be available. From here, we can create new contact groups to act as filter points for us, or we can adjust the order for a lot of these contact groups as well. Right now, mine are just kind of in a little bit of a hodgepodge, so if I wanted to clean up my list a little bit, we could move some of these guys down, like so. Let's put the roofers down there near the framers, perhaps. I've got architects. Let's put the clients up near the top of the list. Big fan of them. You want to see those guys first, and so on. So this will just reorganize the information that we have here, and of course you've got the little tabs here to navigate back and forth as well. But this is a great place to go in and kind of define what you want the contact groups to be. These contact groups are going to be tremendously beneficial as you guys start moving into things like estimates and schedules. When you need to find somebody to do the plumbing work for you, it's a lot easier to go to the filtered group for plumbers rather than going to an alphabetical listing and seeing if you can remember the names of all those contacts. So using these contact groups is really, really important, and you'll see this as an option when you're creating new contacts using this new contact button up here in the top left corner. If you click on this option, it'll actually take you through a little screen here which allows you to create some of the initial content. I'm going to go ahead and create, let's say, my colleague here, Holly, will be the first person that I create for it. Let's see if I can spell this today. And of course, in this section, when we're adding in contact information, it is always, always, always important to make sure that you put in as much detail right now as you possibly can. It typically starts here with putting in the information as such. Let's put her in as a... today I'm just going to have Holly set up as a sub. There we go. Address information as well. Nope, we are in Alabama. So 36830. Country, of course, is the United States for now, for her. But of course, this could be anything, depending on where you guys are located or what you guys are working on. Now, there's also a section here to do a mark as well. This is something that we've put in place to make sure that you guys have the ability to assign this as a business address or a home address, billing or shipping or anything like that. If you click into the More section here, it'll actually take you to a screen where you can put in some additional details for these individuals as well. Under the Addresses tab, as an example, you can set up new address types in here as well. We've got the home, the billing, and the shipping, and everything like that as well, including the business. And you can copy back and forth now as well, just to make sure that you can push this into all of the different address fields that are going to be required, especially if you guys choose any of the syncing options between ConstructionSuite and Outlook, or ConstructionSuite and QuickBooks, or even ConstructionSuite and ConstructionOnline later on as well. If you guys want to be using ConstructionSuite as your central piece for communication, you'll have to collect a lot of this information together so that we can keep everybody up to date and moving forward, moving in the right direction. So once again, great place to come in and put in all the address information. In addition to that, though, there's a ton more fields in here that I highly recommend you guys take a look at, not least of which includes, on the info screen, we can put in some more detail for the contact itself. We can put it in Holly's job title, which is basically boss of all things. We can put in the company information, the department that she works for. We can even give her a contact quality, a rating system that you can put in place for her as a subcontractor. This is tremendously useful because as we're managing these contacts, of course, we're going to have some subs that we like working with, might have a higher rating because they get things done on time and on budget. Great guys, we like them. Could be others that are always showing up chronically late, or maybe they always take twice as long as they originally project to get things done. Maybe those ratings go down a little bit. You'll actually see similar information too available over on the Leads tab. The Leads are going to be one of those features, again, that first show up in the Premier or Contractor version, Premier or Catalyst version of Construction Suite and above. And from this lead section, you'll be able to keep tabs on a lot of information that we have as we open up the lead. It'll keep track of course, the open date for the lead. You'll be able to assign a lead value, which is your initial best guess. Probability that this person will close. This is good things to keep track of. There's a lead stage or a rating system that you'll take a look at here in a minute. You'll also be able to give them a rating as well for lead quality and keep track of referrals and sources as well. I cannot stress the importance enough of keeping up with all of your lead sources. This is where everybody's going to be spending their marketing dollars. And if you're spending your marketing dollars on sources that don't pay off, then maybe those don't need to be lead sources anymore, and we can funnel those marketing dollars over to something else, which has been a tremendous payoff for that. So keep up with those lead sources. They will help you guys generate a lot of these lead reports later. Now, of course, to assist with these, keeping up with all of our leads and everything like that as well, there's going to be things in here like forecast dates and callback dates, expiration dates. All of these that we're setting up here in the lead section, these are going to be populating the calendar in Construction Suite as well, and giving you guys reminders and notifications to give our leads calls so they don't become stale leads, to help move them through that pipeline and moving in the right direction as well. If we could push everybody to close, then I'm sure we'd all be happy, and this is going to give you that prod to make sure that they're going to be kept up with as well. Some of the additional information that we keep up with, of course, not just for the leads, for our general individuals as well. Under the Details tab, you could put in spouse names. We've got birthdays and kids' names and pets' names and everything like that. Some pretty important information to keep up with. On the subcontractor side, though, and some of the vendors and things like that, there's also going to be a great tool here for keeping up with certificates. Insurance information, licenses, performance bonds. All of this information is going to be available here as well. And with these certificates, what we're doing here is we're going to be keeping up with this information to basically make sure that you guys don't use somebody who's not covered at any given point. Under the insurance section, you can always add in pieces of insurance here, and with that you can set an insurance type or create your own type. For something like workman's comp or liability insurance or anything like that, you can put in their total coverage and, most importantly, an expiration date for this. That expiration date is going to create an activity as well on the calendar, and it's going to track that as we start to assign people to schedules and to activities on the calendar as well. If they're not covered, if they're not insured at the period that we're using them on the schedule, Construction Suite's going to pop up a little notification that says, hey, hold on a second. If you don't get the updated information for this guy before we use him, or if you pay him before we know that he's insured, you're going to get hit with a big insurance audit and nobody's going to be happy. So again, system is prodding you along to keep up with some of this office management or these core tools to make sure that you guys don't get caught on any of these jobs unawares. Now, of course, in this case, we can also keep tabs on the primary contact for the insurance information, the agency that they get it through, all of that fun stuff. Same holds true for licensing and bonds and everything like that. The information is here. I also see a lot of our clients using this section, the certificate section for leads, for a warranty tracking system. If you guys offer a warranty for any of the projects that you work on, this is still a great place to go in and put those in, because in this case, still creates an activity on the calendar. You're still going to be able to get in touch with anybody should they have any warranty calls or anything like that. So plenty of reminders to keep you guys moving forward with those too. And for those of you who might be remodelers, either residential or commercial, if a lot of your business happens to be repeat business, those warranties tend to be a wonderful tool that you guys can use to maintain a good relationship with your clients. So always useful things to have. And again, when you click OK, this is going to take us into Holly's information here, where we can see an overview for what we're working on with Holly in this case. So of course here in the top left corner I've got my details for the contact, and I've got projects that she's working on for me. Here are some activities, most notably I've got that workman's comp that's expiring today. We've also got some to-dos that I might have assigned to her and some lead information if she had been lead. Now above this there's also a resource calendar. This is a fun little tool that we've put in place that allows you guys to see at a quick glance what Holly's month looks like with us. If she's working on several different projects across the entire month, you'll see little dots showing up for all these days where we've assigned her tasks. Right now it looks like she hasn't really done a whole lot, but this is primarily because we've only just created her as a contact, so wouldn't expect anything much from her. Now, along the lines of kind of helping us out a little bit, of course, from here we can go over to the insurance and certificate section. You'll see that one piece of insurance that expires within 30 days, i.e. today. Hasn't expired yet, still valid for today, but you'll see that in here. There's also going to be a contact history for Holly here that we can keep tabs on as well. Things like email reminders going out and certificate information, edits to the contacts or projects that we're assigning her to. All of this is going to be collected, and you guys can keep track of this for contacts or for leads. If we flip over to the lead side, this is the filtered list for all the people that we're working on through ConstructionSuite as leads. And you'll see in here that we've got some of the lead quality set up and probabilities and things like this. Great tools for doing some of the filtering and some of the reporting. As an example, if I wanted to, I could flip the view over so that we're using a grouping option and group these leads by probability to see who's going to be closing soon. In this case, I've got two people that I haven't assigned a probability to, shame on me. One that's a fairly solid no, but we're not 100% no yet. And then we grow up from there. They get better and better as we go. So I'll flip it around because I want the good leads on top. These are the ones that are just about to close with us. So some important ones to keep up to the top. Now this is also good because you can see a lead value here. So if we wanted to, we could come in and total the leads as well by probability or by stage perhaps, or group or anything like that as well. And these grouping options are just wonderful tools for taking this information and processing them in a couple of different ways to keep us, using this information well. So keep this detail together, use those grouping functions, and keep in mind too that if there's a lot of information here that seems to be missing from your screen that's on my screen, or you just want to change the information around a little bit, you can always right-click on any of these column headers to turn on or off various different columns to make them available to you here. So go through and take a look at these columns. This view is going to be set specifically for you. It's not going to affect anybody else's in the company, so you don't have to worry about changing somebody else's screen. But again, it's nice because you can turn on all the things that are important to you, and then you can take those fields and drag them all the way to the front. There they are. So you can set the order and availability of all these different columns. Really useful as you're setting up the reporting tools the way you like them. So keep that in mind, and then plenty of filter options and things like that from before as well. Now, just like the contacts, of course, any of the leads that we're working with, when you click into the lead, you'll actually see the full details for the lead here, including any callbacks that we've set up. Those will be here under the Activities tab. To-dos that I've assigned related to this contact. Projects, I haven't started the project for them yet or anything, and so on. Now, with the leads themselves, I always recommend keeping track of a project whenever you start building up the information for one of these leads. The detail for any of the documentation that you guys want to keep track of needs to be held somewhere, and in ConstructionSuite this is all going to be done by the projects. So at this point, let's come up and take a look at the project screen, because this, much like with the contacts, is going to give us a good solid table to start with as we're putting all of our project information together. So with these projects, of course, I've got project names over here on the left. I've got the client for those projects here. And these two pieces are going to be vital as we start working with QuickBooks. QuickBooks takes all the information that we generate here in ConstructionSuite and organizes it by customer job. Of course, in QuickBooks, those of you who are working with QuickBooks probably recognize the term pretty easily. In ConstructionSuite, we have client, which directly relates to the customer in QuickBooks. And then in ConstructionSuite, we have projects, again, directly related to the jobs. So our client project is going to be in QuickBooks a customer job. And the naming here is really important as well. The way you want it to show up in QuickBooks needs to be set here in ConstructionSuite the same way. Now that being said, the rest of the information is available through various different sorts, the same as we had it before. There's even the grouping options and filters that you'll see up here in the top right. Same as before, we've got, in this case, project statuses that we can filter down to. So if we wanted to see all the projects that we have pending, you can click on the pending option and see all of those now. Or we can take a look at the ones that we already have in progress, or those that are in the financing stage. We're just waiting on that startup to show up. Somebody's got the loan approved or something like that. And the details for the projects themselves are also available if you click into the project itself. So if we jump into one of these jobs, from here, we've got a kind of a dashboard element similar to the contacts. I've got my project details up here in the top left-hand corner. This is my location for the project. It's got the little link to Google Maps, which is nice. I've got project details, which will show me the estimate for this job and any actual costs, committed costs, or anything like that that we've worked on so far. If you scroll down, you'll also see schedule details, change order information, after payment details, correspondence, and so on. Again, correspondence, this is something that's available just on the commercial line. Application for payment, available on both, but you have to be on the corporate version of ConstructionSuite on the residential, Catalyst on the commercial to have access to this. We'll explore this in more detail on Wednesday as we go into QuickBooks integration. Change orders, same thing. This is Premier and Catalyst and above. These are all going to be done through the estimates, which we'll take a look at here in a moment. So along those lines, we've got some files which include my estimate, which looks to be checked out at the moment. I've got some documents. I've got an RFQ here, a request for quote. I've got a proposal, a schedule that I've sent out. The schedule, of course, this is going to be a Gantt chart scheduling tool. We could work on templates, but in my case, I've built this one off of the estimate, and you'll see what's coming up right here. To-dos, of course, for the job. There's activities, there's to-dos. Related contacts are going to be all the people that I've assigned as resources, either in the estimates or the schedules, or that I've assigned as the client on the project. So, of course, my client is going to be here, and if we click on the little star, the gold star, that's my lead button. So Phil Rogers is my lead on this. He's the person that I'm hoping to sell on this project. And click on the All Contacts section. This will take us back to everybody that we're working with on the job. And these individuals you'll actually see within the estimates, which you can open up here. So again, typically for the estimate in ConstructionSuite, you're going to have the little estimate icon here, and there's going to be, it's possible to have many estimates in the job. You can have various different copies of the estimates, or maybe you guys have one negotiation estimate versus your original estimate, or something like that. It's a lot easier to keep versions of the estimates than it is to just keep a single file. So with that, we always have one primary, and it could be many secondary, but the primary is always going to be indicated here by a green dot on the icon for the file. Now when you open the estimate, it gives it to you in OnCost, which here we are. This is OnCost. OnCost is the ConstructionSuite estimating tool, and you'll see on here in OnCost that a lot of the pricing information is already going to be available to me here from the project totals page, which is my summary page here in ConstructionSuite. From this page, I've got various different categories like planning and demo, foundation, subcategories in these as well. Like under planning, I've got design services as one of my subcategories, permits, lot costs, financing. It's all here. And if you'll notice, each of these categories has its own category tab down here on the bottom. So if you need to navigate around and see where the pricing information is, you easily can. Click into planning, it'll show you a price breakdown for planning. Click into demo, shows you all the details for demo, so on and so forth. It's from estimating that a lot of the tools that we use in ConstructionSuite are going to be generated. For example, in estimating, if you go up to the reports tab, you'll be able to see all the different reports that we can generate, typically starting with a proposal here in ConstructionSuite. Under project management, you'll also see things like classification reports, item units reports, there's a labor report in here, phase and room reports are going to be available, vendor reports like material lists and POs, customer reports as well like change order contracts and the like. Under QuickBooks integration, once we get a signed contract for this job, you can always take this information and push it over to QuickBooks as an estimate. Once again, just to give you that connection here, it's going to take a look for the customer that we had on this one. In our case, our customer on this is Phil Rogers, I believe. Yeah, there he is, client Phil Rogers. The project name, of course, that's going to be here at the top. It's Rogers Whole Home Improvement. So that in QuickBooks will translate over to a customer, Phil Rogers, job, Rogers Whole Home Improvement. And then what it does is it's going to create content for the estimate when you click this button. That's going to be based on a series of selections that you guys have made in the initial setup wizard. Now we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail on Wednesday, so if you guys are interested in joining me for that one, we'll actually go over the initial setup and talk about what options do what. But ultimately, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for items in the QuickBooks items list to use to create all of these different transactions like estimates, invoices, purchase orders, change orders, credit memos, whatever they might be. And then you can pull back a lot of this information as well through importing actual costs, committed costs, invoiced amounts, and things like that. All of that information is going to get gathered up and it's going to get saved here in the estimate and on cost, so that when you take that and you commit this back in, you save it back into ConstructionSuite's database, it's going to be available to your other project managers and the like, and they don't necessarily have to have access to QuickBooks to be able to see how they're doing on the job. That information is also going to feed back into the system to plug into the project profitability graph that we had on the front page. It's going to push the details into the work in progress report. It's going to give us details for the aggregate reporting tools that we have available in ConstructionSuite. And it's going to be available for these kind of global project reporting tools that we have through ConstructionSuite to really give you a lot of excellent insight as to how the company itself is doing. So again, keep this information transferring back and forth, and if you need any help with this, we've got a ton of QuickBooks Pro advisors on staff, and we've got a lot of experience implementing these tools as well, based on the recommendations that we've received or been using that have come from major accredited organizations full of other pro advisors and CPAs and things like that, like the, who do we have? We're working at Scaling New Heights with Intuitive Accounting. This is going to be in New Orleans. We're going to be there shortly. But we also work with groups like the Sleater Group, and we've pulled a lot of information from some of our partnerships with companies like or organizations like NARI and NAHB and Remodelers Advantage, which is still relatively new for us as well. But we're pulling from all of these organizations, even some international organizations like HIA in Australia, just to make sure that we have some of these best-in-class kind of tools and utility to work with programs like QuickBooks or Reckon, or eventually things like Xero and QuickBooks Online as well. But we've set these up in such a way that they're going to make your accountants happy, they're going to make you guys happy, and the information passes over without any kind of double entry. So make sure that you're taking advantage of these, because everybody will be in the know if you do. Now, what's nice about that too is you take this information. If you need to generate applications for payment like we talked about, it can pull it all together into these reports as well. We'll talk about these on Wednesday also. You can even take this information that we're setting up here in the estimate with things like resources that we've assigned to these various different sections. Go ahead and tell the estimate who's going to be doing the work for us, where we're getting the materials from, and everything like that. And as we build out these resources, not only are those resources going to show up in our related contacts list in the project, but they also get taken over to the schedule when you come over to the File menu and create a schedule right here from the estimate. This will give you options to use the estimate framework to create the schedule, giving me my groups on the schedule like planning and demo and foundation, and pretty much everything that we need throughout the process. You can even take those subcategories that we have, like tear out and removal here in the demo category, and turn those into tasks in the schedule. Those tasks we can then map out on the Gantt chart and give you something that might look a little bit like this guy. So let's open up one of those schedules so we can take a look at it, because again, the detail that we've put into, that we've invested in this estimate, we put all this information together, there's no sense in re-entering this, so let's go push it all over to the schedule, and then from here we can map out the whole project. So you'll see some of these similar categories or groups. I've got planning in here. There's a couple of new ones, project insurance and job site facilities. But then we dive down into foundation, which includes some of my site work, framing, exterior windows and doors, electrical systems. It's all here. Now, I do point this out because there's a little bit of a difference between what shows up in your estimate versus what shows up in your schedule. As an example, my estimate starts with planning and then it goes into demo. Demo doesn't look like it made it into the schedule. Maybe the two schedules were a little bit separate, but in this case I've got project insurance next, because for me this is the next thing that I need to keep tabs on. Then as we dive down into some of the additional sections, you can see that they start to link in once we've got the insurance set up for the job. From there we can go into site work. We can then go into footers, labor, and materials, and inspections, and everything like that as well. So you can see that even though I might have created this schedule from the estimate, that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to follow along with all the exact tasks from that estimate. Obviously there's going to be differences. There are inspections that I want to keep track of, and those are going to show up here in the on-plan schedule here as milestones, which you can see right here. These milestones are going to help me keep on top of major events that are happening throughout the schedule. Could be things like various different inspections that I've got here. We could set up payment milestones or anything like that. And ultimately, if you're interested in making some changes to the project as we go, then you can always go into the schedule and right-click and add new tasks or groups or milestones for that menu. And you'll see that over here on the left-hand side is typically where I'll go to insert these. So then we have add task and add group. Milestone, by the way, is a task that has a 0-day duration. So if you come and take a look at the footers inspections, by the way, and expand out the information side or the task info side, you'll see that this footers inspection has a 0-day duration. And you'll also see in here where we can start chaining together our tasks using predecessor relationships. Of course, on the Gantt chart, for those of you who are familiar with working on Gantt charts, you'll see all of the tasks spanning the amount of time that we expect them to take. Design services, for example, here's a 12-day task. Let's zoom in a little bit. You can see it's spanning my 12 working days here. I've also got permits, which we're going to start up and do this week, and lot costs that we're going to be paying for, and so on. As you start to connect these tasks together, ConstructionSuite, or OnPlan specifically here, will actually map out the critical path as we move through this job. This is a wonderful tool that OnPlan is kind of helping guide us with, because now, if there's a delay on any of these tasks, the whole project is going to be delayed as a result. The end date for the job is going to be delayed because OnPlan is helping us keep up with delays on these critical paths. You'll also actually see, since we've synced the estimate and the schedule, there's another option up here for it as well, you'll see pricing information that's going to be distributed out through this as well. Some of you might like to show this, some of you perhaps not. And if you guys want to adjust what's going to be displayed here, just like with any of the other tables, you can always right-click on any of the column headers and turn on or off columns on the task information side, or items that are showing up on the Gantt chart. So in this case, we've got all the pricing showing up over there on the Gantt chart. So if we come down here, we can uncheck the box for the total estimates on there. And this just hides that information, so it's not going to be displayed. If we then wanted to go in and print this schedule, perhaps, get a paper copy that we're going to hang on the job site, we don't have to worry about it showing all that extra information. You'll also be able to import and export from a number of different formats here as well. So you can take this, pardon me, and send it to anybody else if you need to, without too much hesitation. If you've got somebody that you guys are working with on a job and they use Project and you use ConstructionSuite, you should convert them first as the best option. Because it's so integrated a tool that it's just really great working with other people in the system. But barring that, you can also export the files using this export schedule button. They can go out as project files, Primavera files, that's P3 or P6. We can work with SureTrack and similar import capabilities as well. So send these things around, get everybody involved in whatever needs to be here, and the information will go out there as well. Now, what makes this even easier, though, is we're looking at all of the scheduled tasks that might be coming up. And in these scheduled tasks, if you right-click and go into the task information for it, you'll see not just all the task information, of course, but there's a resources section where you can see who's going to be working on the tasks for this. And the system can actually send out reminders for us automatically. Typically, these would be email or text message reminders. Email for those of you who are on or anybody who wants them, really. Text messages are one of the features that's available just for our TotalCare subscribers, so you guys have that bonus feature in here. And the system, like I said, is going to be automatically sending out a lot of this information, and you'll see this not just here in the estimates, or in the schedules rather, in ConstructionSuite. You'll also be able to step back into ConstructionSuite and see those reminders as available through these activities here. There's some of the reminder information. There it is. So we can add new ones in there if we want to. You'll also see this information gathered up and displayed for us on the calendar in ConstructionSuite as well. So here, if we step over to the calendar, you'll actually see all the different tasks and everything that we've got going on. There's some callback reminders to work with Phil, and I'm supposed to be giving Lou a call here today, and Mary Rhodes, she's supposed to get a call as well. A couple of others also. You'll see this as I scroll through. But more importantly, you can see all the different schedules that I've got going on at any given time. You'll see most of this information available per project as well. And you can turn on or off all of these display features and functions when you come up to the Tools menu, go to Configuration. No, that's not true. It's under Options. Options, and then we can go into the calendar where you can turn on or off things like, I want to show my schedule events or my calendar events with the subject name dash my project name. This way I'll be able to look at this and figure out where each of these is going. So looks like I've started 2 projects at the same time, so most of their tasks are going to be running in line. That's the Cromwell Kitchen and my Rogers Whole Home Improvement project. You'll see other things in here though as we're navigating through that don't happen to exactly line up with this or anything like that. As we navigate down, you'll see some of these additional tasks as well. So once again, tons of information that's going to be available to you here. What's really neat about this though is if you take this information, you go back into the project and you decide that in order to differentiate these a little bit better, you want to go into the project details and edit that project and do something like adjusting the project color for this one. Let's make this project, let's just go with a lightish green. That'll work. This information is going to come back to the calendar and it's going to indicate that color for the project. Any new activities or tasks that we create, which you can really easily do just by double-clicking on one of the days, and it'll pull up the activity window here to create new activities. You'll be able to put in the information for it here, assign resources, put in the subject line for it. And even set up reminders for these as well. You can also come through in the type column and create or assign out new project types here, or activity types rather, as well. These activity types, great little resource because you can go in here and create all the different types that you want. You can add in new activity types so that you can help kind of map out your company's organizations or anything like that using these activity types. These are also a filterable option as you're working through ConstructionSuite as well. So if you take a look up here at the top, there is an activity types button right here, which allows you to turn on or off various different types of activities. Super quick and easy to work with, and you can set up all of those things here. You'll also be able to filter this down just like before, filtering and grouping options, so you can limit this list to just a specific project or group of projects. As you step through the various different views, going into something like a week view, it'll show you everything for the week that we've got highlighted, or you can drag it across to get a different set of weeks, a different week or a couple of days. Day view is the same idea. It'll show you what's going on for the day or for the first day in the range that we've selected. List view is going to be a little bit different because the list view is designed to just give us almost like a bulleted list. It's just straight down the list of everything that we need to do. There's still this Gantt view out here to the right, but again, based on the filter options, which we've got date filters up here, project filters and things like that that we can apply as well. Our goal here is to set this up in such a way that I can filter down to just a set of activities like lead callbacks, for example. And in the list view, I can literally see all the ones that I need to make, the date that I need to make them, and keep it all moving forward from there. At client request, we also added in a year view for you guys as well. But this one, again, this is just giving us some quick kind of bird's eye view information for what's going on. You can see in here where we've got the density of projects that we're working on. You can guess what's going on. It's various different sections in here as well. As you can see, January, a bit of a busy month, February busy as well. Apparently I just completely decided to stop working through March, April, and May, but then we're picking back up again in June. So you can see all of the little dots indicating that we're doing work on these days, and clicking on one of these just takes you to that date on the calendar as well, in the day view rather. So of course, you got all this great information that we're going to be working with here in the calendar. Similar stuff if we navigate over to the to-do list. You guys, I'm sure, are like me. Everybody's got a to-do list. This is a great place to go ahead and gather it up and assign everybody else who needs to be involved. As you're creating new to-dos, there's a button for this up in the top left corner. This can be anything. This could be file for building permit. You can put in the details for these. You can assign it to somebody here with a related contact or an assigned resource, of course. Percent complete. There's even going to be things in here for assigning it to projects. All of these are going to be pulling together to help you create a series of to-dos that can be passed out to anybody involved. And where this really comes in handy for those of you out there who are using TotalCare, this information, along with a lot of the calendar activities that we're creating, are going to be syncing up to ConstructionOnline in real time. So if I create to-dos here, that's going to push up to my ConstructionOnline account. If we assign any resources or any contacts to this particular to-do, this task, then it's going to show up on their ConstructionOnline account as well as something that I've assigned them to do. It's going to be gathered up by GamePlan, which is going to be broadcasting out the email with the short list of everything that's going on. And it's going to show up in all of our mobile apps that we have available out on the App Store, including the new Game Phone app that we have available for Apple Watches, for the new iOS watch that's available. So if you guys are using any of these smart devices, and you guys are creating to-dos or you're creating calendar activities in ConstructionSuite, that information is going to be automatically syncing up for you. It's going to be notifying all the people involved, and it's going to send them out regular reminders, emails, anything like that that you guys might want as well. So a lot of great utility in there. And I'm sure what you guys are thinking is, why would we stop at calendar options and to-do options? And the answer is, of course we're not going to stop there. We have a lot of these other tools that we've been working on that also sync up to ConstructionOnline as well. Contacts, of course, you can take these and you can publish them to ConstructionOnline. Most of that either happens through the Sync Center, which is up in the data menu, or if you just right-click on a contact, there's an option to send the contact to ConstructionOnline right here. You'll also be able to open up any of the estimates if you're interested. You can publish these to ConstructionOnline budgeting. You can take your schedules and you can publish these to ConstructionOnline scheduling as well if you're interested. And all of the reports, the contracts, the documents, all of that can be uploaded as well. You can even come back to ConstructionSuite and take a look here in the Project Files tab, where you can see all of the information that's going to be lining up between the two as well. So here I've got all of my projects that are available through ConstructionSuite. The icon that I've got here on the Rogers Whole Home means that this one's already been synced up to ConstructionOnline, so it exists in my online profile. With that, over on the right, I can see all the files that I have available here in ConstructionSuite and the ones that I'm hosting online already. And if I wanted to take anything and push it up to ConstructionOnline, you can easily just take one of these files and upload it to ConstructionOnline, or drag it and drop it into this lower box. And if we wanted to go in the other direction, you can also grab one of these files and download it. Same idea. You're just pulling it back into ConstructionSuite, but you don't have to do that. If you wanted to take a look at it on ConstructionOnline, you can also just double-click on the file, and it'll actually open up your profile, and it'll show you the project, and you can go through and see all the information that's available to you guys here as well. And there it is. There's my online proposal. And client might have access to it as well. Now this becomes really handy because now we're talking about moving files back and forth between ConstructionSuite and ConstructionOnline, or seeing the activity, which means when my guys decide that they want to go out and take a whole lot of job site photos, I don't have to download all those photos or move them around on the computer or anything like that. They just automatically show up down here in the project below because my guys are out there using OnSite Photo as one of the mobile apps. They might also be using on-site files so that they can open up and preview all these files. They're probably going to be using things like on-site logging and on-site punch lists to keep up with all the day-to-day stuff so that they can keep the logs moving forward. The punch lists so that they can review everybody's work and make sure that everything looks good. On-site calendars and to-dos, obviously, those are going to be pretty clutch because we've got all this information syncing back and forth. I want them to know what's going on. On-site GamePlan is another great tool that serves a similar purpose, except in this case it shows a little summary of everything that we've got going on, all the to-dos, all the punch list items and calendar items and everything like that. So if you actually come to ConstructionOnline and take a look, you'll see where we have all of this different content and all these different features. And most of it is available right here through ConstructionOnline, and you can go to the Projects and Files section to see some of the information that we've started sharing. Of course, you can also go to projects open up one of these projects as well. Go to the overview to see the files that we've shared, client images or anything like that we wanted to push through. You can go into scheduling and see the schedule that I've uploaded. You can go over to budgeting and see estimating tools that we've pushed up there. There's going to be change orders that you guys can use. There's selection sets that you can build out here. It's all here. And all of this is going to be available to you guys through the mobile apps that we have for any Android or iOS devices, tablets, phones, whatever you guys might be using. Also available through the website if you guys want to do that. And there's even portals to keep your clients involved or subcontractors, especially the more tech-savvy ones. You can keep them involved as well, and you can pick and choose what they're going to have access to. You can always define the portals for the guys so that they're not just open and able to access everything that you guys have ever published. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. So with ConstructionOnline, you have a lot of these great tools for controlling the situation a little bit better, for passing out responsibilities exactly the way you guys want it passed out, for even setting up those game plan notifications so that you can have the emails going out every day or once a week or every couple of weeks or once every month, whatever you want. You guys have total control over how everybody else accesses your information, and you can share it through a public profile, which is going to be searchable on Google. So it'll give you that extra little piece, that extra advantage to get the information out there. And it gathers everybody in so that they're all working with you well, communicating easily and effortlessly, and you guys can still track all of this through ConstructionSuite as well, down here in the project files tab, or through ConstructionOnline for that matter. It'll show you a lot of your recent activity and alerts and everything like that going on for online. You don't constantly have to be bouncing back and forth between two applications to receive all the benefits of both. In this case, ConstructionSuite does a wonderful job collecting up all of that information for you, and you've just got this one hub, this one kind of dispatching tool that you can go to see what everybody's doing, what they're working on, to receive a lot of the reports back for project logging, or to see the calendar activities and to-dos being checked off of your lists, or whatever it might be. So it all happens right here, and this is all part of the UDA One package, where we're providing you the tools and all of the utility that you need from beginning of a job past closeout on those projects, through warranty and everything like that as well, to make sure that you guys are successful, to make sure that your clients are happy, to make sure that your team and your subs are all efficiently moving through these jobs and making you guys money. So of course this is going to cover most of what I have for you guys today in our overview for ConstructionSuite, and in this case a very brief overview for ConstructionOnline. Don't forget to take a look at the other webinars that we have coming up as well. Otherwise, you can always reach us here at the office at 1-800-700-8321. You can also get to us via email at info@uda1.com or at support@uda1.com. Again, this is going to conclude our webinar for today. I want to thank all of you guys for coming out and joining me today for this particular section. If you guys have any additional questions or anything else comes up, again, go ahead and chat those in through the questions panel on the webinar. Otherwise, thanks again for joining me today, guys. I certainly appreciate it. And this is Ian Schaefer with UDA Technologies. I'm glad you could join me, and have a great night.